While a paper plane cocktail might seem like fun, Baylee Hopings from the Bon Ton in Atlanta will be the first to tell you that when you don't have everything in the wings, what you need is a private plane.
Today I'm going to be making you guys the Private Plane, which is a drink I created during the Season 9 Speed Rack Mid-Atlantic Finals. This drink was created because A.J. Johnson asked for a paper plane, but we didn't have any Amaro Nonino. So I recreated it with yellow Chartreuse and a little bit of Amontillado sherry to make up for that. And after she tried it, she said it was the new paper plane. Since it's a paper plane variation, it is mostly 3/4 to half an ounce for each ingredient. My first ingredient is George Dickel number 8. You can use any bourbon. I like this one because it's not like it plays very well with the cocktail. It's going to be 3/4 of an ounce. Next ingredient is yellow Chartreuse, 3/4 of an ounce of that as well. And then, like any good paper plane, Aperol, also 3/4 of an ounce. And then this is where we get a little funky. Instead of doing 3/4 of an ounce of our sherry and our lemon juice, we're going to do half an ounce of each to account for the change in acid that you would get with the sherry being used instead of just lemon juice. So half an ounce of Amontillado sherry. And then half an ounce of lemon juice. And then add ice and shake. When you're straining too, make sure that if you don't have a good strainer, you use a fine strainer with it so you can get all the pesky ice shards out. And then garnish is an expressed orange peel, and I always like mine to be nice and beautiful, so I pre-twist them and cut them beforehand and just express a smaller one. And that's it. When you taste this drink, the flavors that jump out at you most are going to be the citrus notes and then from the Aperol as well as the lemon juice, as well as the nuttiness of the sherry. And then it finishes off with this nice herbaceous note from the yellow Chartreuse. If you're used to a paper plane and you try this drink, the Private Plane instead, the most striking difference is going to be the fact that there's a lot of nuttiness present, and that's because of the use of the Amontillado sherry. I would also say that the yellow Chartreuse adds a different sort of herbaceousness than the Nonino. Like Nonino is going to be more warm spices, baking spices. The yellow Chartreuse has honeyed notes to it. If you couldn't find Amontillado sherry for this cocktail, Oloroso sherry would work as well because it's still a drier sherry and it has those nice nut notes. So the process behind making this drink, it was very stressful. I don't know if you guys know what Speed Rack is, but it's a high-speed, all-women bartending competition. The idea is that you make drinks correctly, quickly. If you make it onto the last round, you get asked dealer's choices. So you have a limited amount of time to look at the ingredients available and create a good original drink. So when I was thinking about a paper plane in that quick span of time and what I enjoy about it, and I was looking at the ingredients that were available, I just kept on looking at the yellow Chartreuse. And I was like, well, we don't have Nonino, but we do have yellow Chartreuse. I bet that that would do the trick. In my mind, when I was thinking about how yellow Chartreuse acts in a cocktail opposed to Amaro Nonino, I thought that it needed something other than just lemon juice to help balance it out. So that's where the Amontillado sherry came in. Other than that, though, I left the bourbon and the Aperol exactly the same as they would be in your traditional paper plane. And then I kept it with the orange expression as your garnish. I think that it's a mix of experience and trial by error, to be honest. I don't think that you get to be good at riffing quickly without that trial by error. Like years ago when I first started bartending, when I was making or attempting to make different cocktails, I would start out with like take an old fashioned and sub like one ingredient, sub like the syrup component and try different things. And through doing that a lot, you just learn what tastes good and what doesn't. The experience with Speed Rack was amazing. I highly recommend it to any woman who's thinking about doing it and doesn't think that they have the chops. Like, I promise you do have the chops. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh, I could never do that. And then this year I did it, and I went from my first time, I went all the way up to nationals. First person from Atlanta to ever make it that far, so. So I have been bartending for probably about 7 years now. I started out at a dive bar, and while I was there, I knew nothing about alcohol at all, except for I liked to drink it when I wasn't working. I decided that I was interested in learning more, so I took a online course called Bar Smarts that was created by people like Dave Wondrich, and kind of fell in love with everything about spirits, bartending, distillation, all of it, and from there have just taught myself everything I can, as along with doing various certifications and trying to work for people who could mentor me onto becoming a better bartender than I was 7 years ago. I think the thing that I love the most about bartending is honestly the fact that I believe that a well-made drink and good hospitality can change anyone's day. So I love being able to do that with people, like cheer them up, have fun with them, you know, help them like celebrate their happy moments, all of that jazz. And as far as making drinks, it's just, I never really thought I was creative like that, and it's been a nice outlet in realizing and discovering that I am creative like that, and that I can make things that people enjoy. Well, I hope that you make my private plane and that you enjoy it, and that it takes you places that a regular commercial jet could not. Thanks for joining.